Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm conveying my greetings and best wishes. Hope that everyone is fine and healthy. Before everything else, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a series of lecture of the subject of organizational behaviors. So in this series today we will discuss about the lecture number 7. If you are facing with any kind of problems, I'm reminding you again through the WhatsApp number you can contact me. So as we discussed in previous class as well about the attitudes and different types of attitudes, since attitudes and organizational behaviors, and we are talking about the subject of organizational behaviors, so in this case it is important that we have to go a little bit in details to understand the basic foundation of behaviors and attitudes. For that reason, today we are discussing about the topics of attitudes and job satisfactions. So we are discussing about the attitude and attitudes and job satisfaction is the topic of discussion for today. Hope that you get something from today's lectures as well. Attitudes and job satisfaction. Once again, I am reminding you, if you're facing any problem, try to contact me. And regarding the attitudes, the definition of attitudes, as we earlier in previous slides we discussed that it is an evaluative statements or judgments concerning the objects, about the peoples or about the events. So evaluation is evaluative statements or judgment concerning about the objects or people or things or events, that is called attitudes. Then in previous lecture we also discussed about that is the repetition of previous lecture as well, that we discuss in details that attitudes have its own components. So attitude is composed of three components. First is cognitive components, second is affective components, and third is behavioral components. So we are going to discuss each components a bit in details, that what are these components. Cognitive components, the opinions or belief segment of an attitudes. When for the first time we observe something or we come to know about something and we store it in our memory, it depends how we understand someone or something positively or negatively. Accordingly we store it in our mind. So this is called the cognitive components of the attitudes. It means storing of the memory when we understand about something, and that we kept them in our minds about something, and that is about someone, whether that is positively, whether that is negatively, whether that is favorable, whether that is unfavorable, whether that is dislikes or whether that is likes. So accordingly whatever we keep in our minds toward the things, that is called the cognitive components of that is called the cognitive components of attitudes. It means this the opinions or the belief segment of an attitudes. It means whatever you positive or negative things you have about something or about someone in your mind. So that is the cognitive elements. So second is affective elements or affective components of the attitudes. This is the emotion or feelings. This is the emotion or feelings segment of an attitude. So when we talk about our feelings, if we store something positively in our memory, we develop positive feelings, and if we store something negatively, then we develop negative feelings in our minds. So this is the affective components of the attitudes. So what is the affective components of attitudes? I mean the emotion or the feelings parts of our attitudes. So what emotions, what feelings do you have, that parts of the attitudes is called affective components. Here we are talking about when we are talking about our feelings and when we are talking about our emotions, and then we keep them that emotion and that feelings in our mind, we store them that something is positive, and we keep if we keep the things positive in our memory, or if we keep that means that we are developing the positive emotions. And if we store something negatively, then we are developing negative feelings in our mind. So this is the affective components of the attitudes. The third one, that is behavioral components of our attitudes. It is an intention to behave in a certain way. Now this is the actions, this is the conduct, this is the movement, this is the function that you are doing. So an intention to behave in a certain way towards someone or towards something, whether that is positive or negative feelings, it provided a basis for the development of intention in our mind. Positive feelings lead toward positive intentions, and negative feelings lead to negative intentions. And ultimately, when we act upon our intention, it becomes our behavior. If you are now putting the things into actions, it means as a positive. So that is our positive intentions. If you are putting an actions, ultimately as a negative intentions, so that is your negative intentions. So it means the behavioral component is the activity, it is the functional parts, it is the conducting part, it is the acting parts and movement parts of the attitude. So that is why what we have in our mind, whether that is negative, whether that is positive, so we are representing that in our action, in our conduct, in our activities toward the others. So that is representing our behavioral components of our attitudes. Now we are having different types of attitudes. One classification that we did in previous lecture, that is we classify like positive attitudes, and like we are having negative attitudes, we have neutral attitudes, we have second attitudes. So we discussed in previous class as well. Today we are just classifying the attitudes in somehow a different way. So types of attitudes, a person can have thousands of attitudes, but organizational behavior focuses our attention on a very limited number of work related attitudes. So attitudes could be 1,000, but just we are focusing only on a few points of them. The first types of attitudes in general in regard to the organizational behavior subject, that is job satisfactions. Now what is job satisfactions? What the person attitude does he have toward his job or her job. So an individual general attitude toward his or her job, so it is a collection of positive and or negative feelings that an individual is holding toward his or her jobs. Or we can say a person with a high level of job satisfaction hold positive attitudes about the job, while if a person who is dissatisfied from his job or her job is holding a negative attitudes about the job. So generally we say that job satisfaction is the level of contentment a person feels regarding his or her job. This feeling is mainly based on individual perception of satisfactions. Or we can say that we can define job satisfaction as that job satisfaction is the feeling of pleasures and achievement which an employee experience at their job when the work is worth doing, or when the degree to which their works give them satisfactions. At the same time, we can say that job satisfaction is the collection of feelings and it's the belief that people have about their current jobs. For example, if you are satisfied from your jobs, you're happy from your jobs, and you are having a positive feelings about your job, so that is job satisfactions. Maybe that is in negative sense, as well as that could be in negative sentence, in negative sense. So what feelings do you have about your job? And that is called your job satisfaction. That is called if you are having a negative feelings about your job satisfaction, that is called negative attitudes about your job. But if you have a positive feelings about your jobs, that is called your positive attitudes about the jobs. And job satisfaction is the integral component of organizations. It is an important element. It's an important element. In management, implying relationships. So job satisfaction will be defined as differently by different scientists. For example, sometimes some of the scientists define that it is the amount of overall positive effects that individual is having toward their jobs. That is job satisfactions. Or so there are some factor that is leading to the satisfaction of a job. Now, what are the first types of attitude, that is job satisfactions. uh, Later on we will discuss about that, what are the factor that is leading to the job satisfactions. Second type of attitudes is job involvement. Job involvement means that the degree to which a person identify with his or her job, actively participating in it, and consider his or her performance important to self-worth. So employee with a high level of job involvement strongly identify with and really care about the work they do, so that the amount of the amount of degree that you are involved in your jobs, for that your active participation in your job, this is that you are considering that this performance is important for my self-worth, it's important for myself, so the person get involved in the job for the better performance. So that is called job involvement, which is the second type of attitudes and behavior of a person within organizations, that how much the person is involved in the job. While the third types of attitudes is organizational commitments, it's also a type of attitudes that toward the jobs that we are having. It's a type of behaviors that we are having toward our jobs. So the degree in which an employee identify with a particular organization and its goals, in wishing to maintain memberships in that organizations. High job involvement means identifying with one specific job, and high organizational commitment means that identify with one's employing organizations. So showing the commitment with organization is a type of a positive attitudes of individual in the organizations, that representing the positive behaviors of an individual, that could be prove as an effective organizational, that could be effective for the organizations. So this is the third type of the attitudes, which is organizational commitment. So definitely when we are getting involved in job and we are being assigned, we have been given a job, so we have to show our commitments. Showing of commitment with the jobs and getting ourselves always in job, involved in the jobs, it is for self-worth, because the performance of the person will get better, and finally the person will be a worthy person in the organization, and will find a good place in the organization, and will stay for the long time. And that staying for a long time in organization, it means that showing your positivity, that shows your positive attitude, that it shows your positive behaviors. Next is an attitude survey. So it is eliciting the response from employee through questionnaires, about how they feel about their job, work, groups, and supervisor in the organizations. Attitude survey is telling us that what the employees or the subordinates are feelings and about their jobs, how they feel about their supervisor, how they feel about their manager, top level management, level managements, and what feelings do they have about their organizations. For that reasons, they are conducting a questionnaire type of survey, in which they are going to gather information about their level of managements, that how much whether they are satisfied from their level of management or not. So attitude survey present the employee with a set of statements or questions with a different rating, normally from strongly agree to strongly disagree. So if you understand the attitudes of our employee, that what are their attitudes, for the measurement of the attitudes of the employee. So for example, we may be developing some different type of a statement as well as a questionnaire that has been distributing among the employee, and the employee will show and answer their questions, answer the questionnaires in regard to the answer about with the strongly agree, disagree, not agree. So these things will measure the attitudes of employees. So that is why it's called attitude survey of an employee. Now, for example, attitude survey, so you might put forward so many questions for to your employees, so the employees are answering these questions and show and rating their agreement and disagreement with the question that you are putting forwards. From these questions you understand the attitudes of your employee, the behaviors of your employee in the organization, that what they are thinking about their job, what they are thinking about their supervisor, what they are thinking about the organizations. So simply a few questions, specified question will be there, and these question will be answered. These question will be answered in a like in a Likert scales type of questionnaires. For example, the company is a pretty good place for works. Now, are you agree or disagree? So maybe many of the employees in the organizations answer these questions positively. Maybe many of them will answer negatively. So giving negative and positive answer to this question will measure your attitudes regarding the organization, regarding the relationship of the supervisor with the employees, and as well as the relationship of top and middle level management with the employees. So this will rate the attitudes of an individual's. For example, I can get ahead in this company if I make efforts. So how much you agree with these questions or disagree with this question? Maybe some of the people answer this agree, and some people will answer this question as disagree. So the company wage rate is competitive with other company. Is it right? Or you agree with this statement or not? So many of the people will just be strongly agree with this. Many of them will be strongly disagree with this. So finally, just when we are scoring that how much is the agree answer, how much the disagree answers, based on that we understand the attitudes or imply in the organizations. Imply promotions decisions are handled fairly. My workload is challenging but not burdensome. I feel free to tell my boss what I think, and I understand the various benefits the company offers to me. Whether these to these questions into this concept, or you agree or not. If you are agree, you will show your positivism. If you are not agree, you will show negativism. So that positivism and that negativism in a scoring number, it will limit your answer to somehow whether you are all happy from the job or unhappy from the job, happy from organization or unhappy from organization, happy from the top level management or not. So this is a sort of this attitudinal survey is a sort of measurements for the attitudes of the employee, through which we can understand the employees' attitudes in the organizations. So attitudes in workforce diversity. So what does it mean? The concept that organizations are more heterogeneous in terms of gender, race, culture is called workforce diversity. So what is workforce diversity? So this is a workforce diversity that is showing that in your organizations the platforms and the environment of organization may be heterogeneous. There may be male, female, there may be from different culture, from different races, from different religions. So many of diverse people will be working in the same particular conditions. So now this is what they are showing different attitude than organization. So manager are increasingly concerned with the changing employees' attitudes to other diverse issues. Therefore, organizations are investing in training to help reshape attitudes of employee concerning the diversities. For that reason, so many of the organization is providing a facility for the employee in the organization to reshape their attitudes toward the others. Because many diversity are there in the organizations, everyone behaviors and attitude is distinctive. For that reason, trainings are conducted for the reshapings and for reshaping the attitudes of the attitudes of the employee in the organization toward the others. So in a diverse training that provide for self-evaluation and good in a group discussions. So job for that reasons that the first type of the attitude that we discussed was a job satisfaction. Now measuring a job satisfaction, how to measure your job satisfaction, that how much you are satisfied how much you are satisfied from your job. So how to measure that? The first measurement scale is a single global rating. So what is single global rating? Single global rating is nothing more than asking individual to respond to one questions such as all things considered, how satisfied are you with your jobs? The respondent then reply by circling a number between 1 to 5 corresponds. That is, for example, there might be from 1 to 5, highly satisfied to highly satisfied. So many options will be there. So when we are single a global rating, where there should be 5 options. So from 5 options you will be choosing one, and finally aggregately we are going to collect them and analysis that data, and finally we will discuss about we will judge about the attitudes of individuals, and as well as your attitudes about your job satisfaction, whether you are satisfied or not, highly satisfied, less satisfied, highly dissatisfied, highly satisfied. So rating, understanding about the rate of this, we are using 5 types of number that is being circled by the employee organizations. Now, measuring job satisfactions, there is another methods that which show us that how much we are satisfied from our job, that is summation score. So what is summation score? Summation score identifies key elements in a job and asks for employee feelings about each typical factor that would be included as the nature of the work environment, supervision, pay, promotion, relation with boss and co-workers. So how much you are satisfied from all these factor that is leading to your job satisfactions. Job satisfaction, next one, how satisfied are you or peoples in their jobs. So whether we see that how much the people are satisfied from their jobs. So independent study conducted among US workers generally indicate that the majority of workers are satisfied with their jobs. Moreover, these results are generally applicable to other developed countries. It depends on the facets of satisfaction, tend to be less satisfied with pay and promotion opportunity or not. So personality can influence job satisfactions. Negative people are usually not satisfied with their jobs because negative personality, they are always complaining about their jobs. Now, how employee can express dissatisfactions? They will say that I will accept the job. Their behavior is directed toward leaving the organizations, and some of them might raise their voice and say active and constructive attempts to improve the conditions. Loyalty is passively waiting for a condition to improve, as well as neglect, allowing condition to worsen. So through these 4, exit, voice, loyalty, and neglects, you can express your dissatisfaction about your jobs. Now, what are the effects of satisfaction on employee performance? What are the effects of job satisfaction on employee performance? Now, if let's say if you are satisfied from your jobs, so what are the effects of that satisfaction of that you are satisfied from your jobs on your performance of employees? So this is what the first point we are discussing is satisfaction and productivity. Satisfied workers are more productive, and more productive workers are more satisfied. Very simple statement it is, doesn't need the explanations. Worker productivity is higher in organization with more satisfied workers. It means worker productivity is higher in that organization where the workers are more satisfied. Satisfactions and absenteeism. Satisfied employee have fewer avoidable absences. It means that those that they are satisfied from their job, hardly ever they make absentee in their jobs. It means they are very punctual to their works, because if they are facing with avoidable absences, they make it avoid, but they make them available for the jobs all the times. So satisfaction and turnover, if people are satisfied from the jobs, so the termination of job, the quitting of job, the turnover of the job will be less as compared to the organization where there is dissatisfaction of the employee from their job. Then turnover will be surely higher than those organizations where satisfaction of employees are more. So satisfied employees are less likely to quit the job because they are happy with the job, and organization take action to retain the high performers and to weed out the lower performers. Job satisfactions and about an OCV. Satisfied employees who feel fairly treated by and are trusting of the organization are more willing to engage in behavior that go beyond the normal expectation of their jobs. And job satisfaction and customer satisfactions. So satisfaction and customer satisfaction. When the customer satisfaction take place, when there's, it means that satisfied workers provide a better customer services to the organizations. Satisfy imply increase customer satisfaction because they are more friendly, upbeat, and they are more responsive. They are less likely to turnovers, which helps build long-term customer relationships. They are experienced one. So dissatisfied customer increase employee job dissatisfactions. So the customers are dissatisfied. So what will increase? It will surely and definitely increase the employee jobs dissatisfactions. Now there are some factors for the job satisfaction. One factor, that is personal factors, in which age comes, education comes, gender comes. So organizational factors are there. Second one, in organizational factors, supervisions, the group work, occupational label, job content, pay and promotions, and security of job, determinants of job satisfaction, that is on organizational levels. It means there are many factors that becomes the that become a cause of the job satisfactions. So there are some personal factors. In personal factors, I said age is there, education is there, gender is there. While there are some organizational factors in which in which we are talking about the supervisions from the level of management, and we are talking about the work groups, and we are talking about the occupational level, as well as we are talking about the job contents and pay and promotions and security of job, determinants of job satisfaction. That is the organizational factors. If these things are quietly right, so it means that satisfaction of employee will be more in the organizations. While we are also having some classification of job satisfactions as well. Like, let's come if you talk about the age. So age group between 20s and 30s are energetic persons. So they are always resistant to change, and there is a rise of ego problems. As defined by the words of Charles, that an investigator found that there is no significant difference in job satisfaction. Both male and females are equally affected. Both male and females are equally affected. So factor that is affecting the job satisfactions in terms of gender differences, or in terms of gender difference, that are wages, it means salary, that is prestigious, and that is supervision, positions, and that is gender. While highly educated people have tendency to get higher expectation about their jobs. So dissatisfaction will be more when educated persons are employed in lower ranks. So when it will take place, when the dissatisfaction will take place, at which time people will be dissatisfied from their job. When will dissatisfaction take place? When the more educated peoples are employed, they are given, they are assigned their tasks in a lower ranks. So this problem is faced by many peoples in underdeveloped and developing countries. Now educations is another important things for the another important factors for the job satisfactions. Now what comes as a organizational factors that is leading to job satisfactions is first is supervisions. So supervision can be classified as employee-centered supervision, production-oriented supervisions, employee-centered. What does it mean? That employee-centered means looks after subordinate carefully, because you are looking after your employee in the organization. So that is what looking after your subordinate very carefully, which displays your friendship, respects, and warmth towards your employees. While the production centered, it gives job satisfaction to employees, and it leads to decrease the turnover of a companies. Isolated workers are more prone to dislike his job. The amount of satisfaction is based on to which extent a person is having formal relationships within his group work. So what does the group work means? It means that higher level of job, greater will be the job satisfactions. Professional people receive greater job satisfactions. So factory workers are the least satisfied persons, and occupational levels. So greater variation in job contents, so greater will be the satisfactions. Job contains factors that influence the job satisfactions. Security is another thing that is becoming a factor for the job satisfactions. Supervisions, social relationships, that all becomes the all becomes the job satisfactions. That all becomes the job satisfactions. Now next is the job content. It means positive aspect of job satisfaction. They are related with the occupational levels. They're related to the social prestige. With each promotion, a person will be satisfied, and vice versa. If they are paid and more promotion are more payment and promotion are given to them, then they will be highly satisfied from the job. Now promotions, important fact for that determine the satisfaction of a person's. A person will be satisfied if he possesses a secure job. It means that he is secure about the job. So the permanent workers will be satisfied, but not the temporary workers in a companies. So security of job is the important things for the job satisfaction of a person. Now if employees are satisfied in the organizations, from the supervision of the organization, from the organizational structure, from itself the organization management, about they're satisfied about the security of their job, and they are very happy about the payments and promotion procedure in the organizations. It means if the employees are more and more motivated and they are more satisfied from the job, so that turnover will be less, the organization effectiveness will take place, and finally the behavior of employee toward the organizational goals will be positive. But unfortunately, if it is vice versa, if it is against all the normality of the organizations, then it's impossible that through the employee who are not satisfied quietly from their jobs, it would not possible for them to achieve the individual as well as the organizational goals. So we all working in one platform, from different background, from different races, from different gender, from different religions might be, but we are working in the same position. Now it is important to understand each one behaviors, and according to the behaviors of each, that we have to go and proceed. So the manager and is needed to know about the psychology and the behavior of himself as well as the behavior of others in the organizations. That could be a leading factor for the organizational effectiveness, and finally collectively the goals of organization will be achieved. Unfortunately, if you do not understand the attitudes and behavior of our employee in the organizations, and if we do not properly understand their behavior and attitudes, so surely we would not be capable as a collectively to achieve individuals in organizational goals and objectives. So dear student, this was about today's lectures. If you are having any sort of questions, if some slide is not clear to you, so let me inform me and contact me through the WhatsApp numbers. I will be glad to answer you on the spot or later on. So see you then, till next lecture. Allah Hafiz, all the best, wish you best of luck.